Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 151 of the Run in the Paint podcast. I'm Miles here with Ben, Joey, Nick, and a very special guest, Uncle Joe. Guys, we got a full house today. How are we doing?
Feeling good, feeling great. Happy to have Joe Sr. along.
Happy to be here, guys. Thanks for having me. It's a lot of fun.
I also couldn't be happier that my own uncle is on the pod with us tonight, and I can't wait to get into the Central Division and hear his thoughts about all these teams.
Yeah, going to be a lot of fun. Ben, how are you feeling today?
Feeling great, and football is back. Let's go.
Yes, sir. We are fully back, man, and we got a fun episode today. Our first Eastern Conference Division preview today. We did the Northwest in the last episode. Today, we've got the Central Division, so going to be a lot of fun. So let's get started with POELTL. Let me move us over here. We've got POELTL. Now, the last episode wasn't our best showing after we've been pretty solid the last few episodes, so we need to try and bounce back here today. So, Uncle Joe, as the guest, give us a player. Who should we guess for our first player?
Benedict Mathurin.
Benedict Mathurin, going with someone in the Central Division.
We have a whole extra brain for more brain power, and I dare say that he might be more brain power than all of us put together. So.
He might be. We do have the genius on the podcast, but this guy's going to be a Western Conference 6'6" player that's 22 or 21 years old. So this is going to be a young wing player in the West.
Good guess, Uncle Joe.
Yeah.
Probably not going to be like a rookie or second. Well, it could be a second-year player.
6'6".
6'6" wing player
In the West.
First name that comes to mind is Max Christie. He's on the Mavericks.
It's a good pull. Yeah, he's young.
That's a good pick.
Still a young dude. We want to try to go with him?
Sure.
Go with it.
All right, we'll try him out. Max Christie.
Snipe.
On the Mavericks. Oh, my gosh. I didn't realize he also wore the number 00.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
wow.
What are the odds of that? All right.
A 6'6" guard
In the
either
Pacific.
Pacific or Northwest.
That is 21 years old. So we know that this guy's going to be 21 years old.
What about Thompson?
He's in the Southwest Division.
Oh, that's correct. Yep.
And he wears the number 1. Oh, I'm not sure how that'll work how that'll count numbers, because usually it's yellow if it's within 2. Will that count 0 and 1 or 1 and 2? Like, I don't know how
It would count 0, I bet.
21-year-old guard in the West.
I was thinking like Jaden McDaniels, but he's a wing.
And he'll be older. I mean, this is going to be like a first or second. This is going to be a first or second or third-year player.
Yeah.
Super young guy.
I mean, Shaden Sharp is around this height, but I don't know if he's under 21.
I don't think he's 21. He's been in the league for a little bit. 6'6". 6'6".
These guys get drafted at 18, though, now. I mean,
That's true.
How old is Kuminga? And how tall is he?
Kuminga. You know what's funny? He is also the number 00. So,
Oh, that's right. So that won't work.
so it will not work.
is Kamara taller than 6'6"?
He plays the forward, though.
Yeah,
He's
he'd be a
true
forward.
guard.
All right.
6'6".
6'6" true guard is tough.
Why is this tricky?
There's not
I feel like this
Yeah,
should be a
this is
super,
tough. I can't really think of anybody.
like a super young dude in the West. Super
Anybody
young.
on OKC? J-Dub's too big. The rest of the team's young.
That is true. I don't think it'll be anyone on OKC, but we could guess some. We could try to guess someone just not in the Southwest Division to try to narrow down the division here.
What about Bronny?
Shoot, Bronny. Oh my. Well, hold on. He's like the same age as me, so he's still 20. That's not a bad idea. That wasn't a bad idea though.
This guy is 21 then. Like, we figured that out. And he's 21 and 6'6", who's a guard in the West.
Why is this so crazy? Julian Strother?
I like it.
I guess someone to try to narrow it down.
Let's
Let's try
just gotta guess someone at this point.
Julian Strother.
Yeah.
So Northwest. So Minnesota, OKC,
Utah.
Utah. Or Portland, yeah.
One of the teams we talked about in the last episode. This is probably a player we talked about in depth on the last episode.
Wow, we're so smart, guys.
Cody.
I mean, Santi
Cody
isn't
Williams?
that young.
Cody
Aldama.
Williams.
Cody Williams might work.
Dude, Cody Williams, though.
Yeah, he's not relevant, but
I feel like he fits. Cody Williams. Dang, man.
Oh, man.
Back-to-back episodes, we're struggling on this one. Not Utah. So Portland, OKC,
or Denver.
or well, not Denver.
Not Denver.
Minnesota. Terrence Shannon?
Oh my God, I was gonna say Terrence Shannon after Ben Math,
But he's
25.
I was about to say he's old.
Yeah, he's older for a young
He was in college for like 4 years.
How old's Jaden McDaniels? Is he a little older?
Yeah, he'd be older. My goodness.
Dillingham's not that tall at all, right?
No,
No.
Not even close.
Chris.
I guess Scoot Henderson to see if we get Portland.
He's also 00.
He is.
We're trying to think of all the double zeros in the league.
Denny, he's a wing.
Won't be 21.
I'm pretty
I just
stumped,
don't know
guys.
I don't know all the middle players in those things.
Aaron
So.
Wiggins on the Thunder, but he could be older, though.
Yeah, because he just signed a new contract.
The
Man.
numbers got to be higher, right? Higher
Yeah,
than 5.
Yeah, numbers got to be way higher. Minnesota.
I don't mind the Wiggins pick.
Aaron Wiggins. I guess we could try. I just don't. He's not 21 because he's been in the league for 4 years.
Yeah.
Because that's the age is, definitely young, right?
Yep. Portland Trailblazers. Maybe it is. No, I think Shaden Sharp is
How
older.
tall is Cam Johnson, though? But he's older. He's like 25, 26, isn't he?
Yeah, he's old. He might be closer to 30.
It's either Portland, OKC, or
Minnesota.
Memphis.
Minnesota.
And I thought Aldama might fit, but he's older too.
And he's
Not
like a
Memphis.
7
It can't be Memphis. That's Southwest.
And he's like
It's Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota.
Minnesota. I don't think it's Minnesota. I mean, maybe it is though. Maybe it is Shaden Sharp. Do we want to just try Shaden Sharp?
Sure.
Go for it.
Jeez Louise. Across the board, man. Okay. He's on the Blazers.
Portland.
21-year-old in Portland with a higher number than. Wow.
Do they have Yang Hansen listed as a guard?
No, he's like 7'1".
Yang Hansen is like.
He passes like a guard.
That is true.
That is very, very true. Portland Trailblazers. Holy moly.
They have a loaded guard
I'm pulling up the roster. I'm done.
room.
6'6".
Ray and Rupert.
Ryan
Miles, that's your guy.
Ryan Rupert. Dude, actually might be it. What?
Wait a second. It's literally just the number that's wrong.
Oh my
You
This
got to
is
be
getting
kidding me.
cow.
This is by far the worst we've done on a Pirtle.
Heard was like, well, there's 5 of these guys on
The only
fire.
one left is Sidney
Really?
Sissoko.
Today.
Sissoko.
CD Sissoko? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It was a rough Pirtle player today.
What?
Dude, I hate this. Terrible.
All right. To the viewers, you cannot blame us for CD Sissoko on Pirtle.
Right.
I
Right.
don't know if
It was a
anyone's
tough
seen that
one.
All right. Back-to-back rough ones. Let's brighten it up with the Central Division. Let's get right into these teams. This is going to be fun. We got a lot of good teams. These are all teams that made the postseason last year, some teams that have hopes for competing for an NBA title, and some teams that were title contenders last year that might take a little bit of a step back this year. So it should be fun. Let's start off with our favorite team across the board, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who last year had a magical regular season, 64 wins, number 1 in the East. And then they lose to the Pacers in the second round in 5 games. Injuries did play a factor, but overall, disappointing finish to what was otherwise an incredibly magical regular season. In the offseason, they did make some moves. They acquired Lonzo Ball from the Chicago Bulls in exchange for Isaac Okoro. They signed Larry Nance Jr. He comes back to Cleveland. They re-signed Sam Merrill for 4 years, $38 million. So making some moves and heading into the season, they are definitely one of the favorites to win the NBA title. So Uncle Joe, starting off with you, I guess, what are your thoughts on the Cavs off season, so far?
Well, I think it was all right. I mean, I really wanted a better big man coming off the bench. We need a little more strength and intensity off the bench. I love Larry Nance Jr., but he's the same player as Allen and Mobley, right? You got you got Dean Wade and Larry Nance Jr. coming back. We needed better front court help. Obviously, we're going to the season with two big injuries. Darius Garland's down till, I think, December. And now I heard Max Strus got hurt. So that's going to hurt a little bit. But I think that's going to give DeAndre Hunter a chance to play. And maybe some of these young guys, a couple guys had really, really good summer leagues. So we get him some minutes. I love the acquisition of Lonzo Ball, right? One of our big problems is defense on the front court, right? Garland is a really, really good offensive player, but Mitchell plays bigger than his 6'2", but Garland is, somewhat of a defensive liability against some of the big guards. And we go up against Cade Cunningham. We go up against Jalen Brunson. I'm okay because Mitchell can stay with Brunson. So can Garland a little bit. Brunson takes it to the hole on everybody. But you get a guard like Cade Cunningham, and we're in trouble, right? He's a little bit bigger.
Halliburton.
Right. Halliburton gave us fits, right? Same exact. Good point, Nick. So, I mean, all in all, I wish we would have just beefed up the front court a little bit. We need an enforcer on this team. That's what's going to hold the Cavs back from really competing for an NBA championship, in my opinion.
Interesting. So, Joey, what are your thoughts on the Cavs offseason? Obviously, with them going into the second apron, starting off this offseason with the extensions of Mobley and Mitchell kicking in, it's not like there's a whole lot of moves they can make. It kind of handicaps them with the flexibility to make different moves. So, what are your thoughts on particularly the Ball and Nance acquisitions when, for a small market, it's not like there were many more moves they really could have made?
Yeah, we were pretty handcuffed, but with what we did, I think we did all right. I agree with my dad in saying we do need front court help. Like, that's the big thing. Like, I love Larry Nance Jr. I'm so excited he's back. But if he's the backup big, and eventually, I know we'll do what we did last year and alternate Mobley and Allen. But if you're going to do small ball, before we had Dean Wade, this year we have Larry Nance. It's maybe a little better, but not that much better. It's not going to kill anybody, I don't think. Like, it's not that crazy. But getting Lonzo Ball is huge, especially since we did lose out on Ty Jerome, and he signed with Memphis, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So, and I know we had a disappointing season, but like in the regular season, we needed that backup point guard, and Ty Jerome played so well for us. I think, obviously, with Darius Garland out for so long now too, we're gonna need Lonzo Ball to bring it because I like Craig Porter Jr., but Lonzo's gonna have to really help us out in this first half of the year.
Yeah, so the particular notes on the injury. So Darius Garland had surgery on the foot or on the toe that gave him problems during the playoffs last year, and that'll have him missing, like Uncle Joe said, maybe up till December. I think maybe the first 10, 15 games of the season, if that. But the big news that came out over the last week was Max Strus had a Jones fracture in his left foot during an offseason workout that'll have him reevaluated in 3 to 4 months. So it'll be a while until he comes back here. And of course, Lonzo Ball, great acquisition, but he's definitely going to be someone that the Cavs will monitor. I don't know if he'll play any back-to-backs or anything like that. Nick, so this Cavs team, of course, we've gotten to the point where they have shown how good they can be in the regular season. They've sort of mastered the regular season, especially last year. Haven't seen it in the playoffs. Is there anything that you think you can take away from the regular season coming up this year, or is it going to be all about the playoffs for this Cavalier team?
I think it's probably all about the playoffs. Like, I agree that the moves that they brought in added to their depth, but I do think, like, they're only going to go as far. It's weird saying this, but as far as, like, Jarrett Allen will take them, because You know, the thing has been like Donovan's the best player on the team, but if Mobley can take that role, then that's really the Cavs' path to being an elite team. If Mobley's the best player on the team, but with the front court non-depth, like I am worried about Larry Nance going up against fives. I'm worried about Dean Wade having to guard fives. So we're gonna need Jarrett Allen to fulfill that and Evan Mobley to fill that role together. But I don't have worries about Mobley guarding most fives. I do have some worries about Allen and his physicality. So like that's why I'm saying it feels weird saying this, but it feels like the Cavs are gonna go as far as Jarrett Allen takes us.
Ben, what are your thoughts about the Cavs and their off season and heading into this year?
I think that yeah, Uncle Joe started off a good point that, you know, I agree with him that the backup big depth is a bit concerning, but I mean, I am happy we reunited Larry Nance Jr. I think he can be salad off the bench, but yeah, I assume, the Cavs are gonna, want to just have, pretty much most times out there on the court have at least one of Mobley or Allen with the way they've gone about things. This worked well at times, and they can go out there and play well, do their stuff. But I'm definitely interested in Evan Mobley this year. I mean, I think a big part of how the season goes for the Cavs is going to be how good does Evan Mobley do? Like, man, Evan Mobley, he's already just a great defender, one of the best defenders in the league. But if he could just take even more of a leap offensively and get the ball more, be even more aggressive and stuff, like look more like Giannis, say, with being aggressive, getting the ball, like that could take our team to another level. I think if Mobley could do that, I think, in my opinion, Mobley's going to be a big part of how the Cavs season goes. And he's got to be ready to bring it, especially offensively. At the first half of the year with Garland out, and then in the playoffs too. And yeah, I really like the Lonzo Ball addition. I mentioned that in the off season, and as long as Lonzo stays healthy, I have hope it will turn out to be a great addition to replace Ty Jerome.
Yeah, the Evan Mobley point, I don't think there's any question in my mind that he is the key to this team really being a championship team, because I mean, he just had such a great year last year. Defensive Player of the Year, All-NBA second team, and he definitely took a step offensively, but it can definitely get increased this season. And that's where I think the Garland and Strus injuries could potentially help him, because it's going to force Kenny Atkinson and that coaching staff to run more things through Mobley as potentially a point forward. Because even like Lonzo Ball, he can be considered as a point guard, but he doesn't really run a whole lot of pick and rolls. On offense, he's kind of a spot-up shooter and a connector. He's not really going to handle the ball a whole lot. So Evan Mobley is going to have to do a lot for this team. And I'm excited. I mean, I've said it before. I know off-season workout videos can be some of the most overly analyzed things in the NBA for fans, but dude, I'm buying in. He looks like a beast, and I'm excited to see how he plays this season. I mean, I think that he can potentially be the Cavs' best player this season. And if that's the case, this team should be one of the favorites to win the title. They are projected as the second best team in the league, once again, have the second best odds to win the title. And I'm just excited to see how he plays. And overall, I mean, just to see how he carries kind of that big man depth. Because I really like the pickup of Larry Nance Jr. I actually think he is going to help out a lot, because he can shoot the ball at this point. He can be a physical guy. He still has the athleticism. He's someone that can be a perfect connector, for the Cavaliers. So I'm excited to see how he and Lonzo Ball both help out the team. But as far as, the regular season and the playoffs, they just need to be healthy going into at least the second round, and I'm pretty excited about their chances.
Miles, I had two questions for you. Is Mobley a 2010 guy this year? Is he going to step up on both points and rebounds?
I think
obviously
he can.
his defense was there. I mean, Can he get us a consistent 20 and 10? I think that's going to be critical with Garland out. Him and Mitchell, your scoring options, especially with missing Strus. And then anybody think that, if anything goes on with Lonzo Ball, I mean, I think the one guy I'm looking to develop this year is Tyrese Proctor.
Yeah.
Another 6'5" point guard who can play point or two and, really can be a consistent scorer off the bench. I think that gives you, the one thing I like about the Cavs versus all the other teams in the Central Division, we have the most point guard depth. A couple of the teams are going to really struggle at point guard handling the ball.
Yeah.
And as great of a regular season as Ty Jerome had, Indiana exposed him in the playoffs, right? That they could not handle the ball. And Indiana put a formula out there for other teams to beat the Cavs: pressure the ball. Don't let them get into their offense. And so we need a point guard. That's where we missed Garland. Garland's hurt foot in Indiana. It wasn't his scoring that we lost. It was his ball handling. Because he could have broke that press without a problem.
Well, one thing I'll say about Proctor, I'm the college guru of the panel here. He did lead the best offense in the country last year and held a team that had Cooper Flagg and who's the guy in Charlotte? He got fourth, Conconneple, handling the ball a lot too. But he was still the point guard on the number one team in the country and had the best offensive, rating or the highest offensive efficiency of anybody. And he was on that starting five, and he was the lead guy doing it. So 6'5".
They had a huge big man too. They had 4 out of the 5 were drafted in the first round.
MILWAUKEE. Yeah.
Now that's the guy I wanted to draft. That's the guy.
He was my favorite too.
Yeah, but no, for sure. I mean, it proves that he can be a part of a winning culture. It's just so tricky with second-round picks. It's hard. You can't really rely on it too much during a season. But with the guards that are going to miss some time, and the fact that, at this point, I expect the Cavs to do some experimenting in the regular season. We're going to get to see those guys, get a chance to play. We'll get Craig Porter minutes. Jalen Tyson will get a chance for some minutes. I'm curious to see, who do you guys think the Cavs should start during the regular season? Of course, with Garland out, it obviously changes a whole lot of things. They could go a number of different ways. But, Joey, who do you want the Cavs to start going into the season?
Well, if the way we're gonna start it with Garland and Strus obviously out, I probably have. Can you pull up the roster actually?
Yes.
I'm not even kidding. I would probably start Donovan Mitchell, Sam Merrill, Hunter, Mobley, and Allen.
Agreed.
I would keep Lonzo and Porter off the bench because they can come in from both guards. Like you said, Lonzo is a really good spot-up shooter, so you can even have Porter handle the ball. But having Sam Mitchell out there, Donovan Mitchell proved last year that he is a guy who can run the offense and be kind of that point guard and get everybody involved and make his teammates better. So I think that'll be a good way to start the year.
Yeah, definitely agree. I think that there are a number of ways they could go with the three. I know DeAndre Hunter is definitely the best small forward on the Cavs roster. I don't know if he's with the way that they're kind of formed this year, I'm not sure if it makes the most sense to start him, because it was super nice to have that punch off the bench with him leading the league in scoring off the bench. And now that Ty Jerome is also gone, he was third in sixth man of the year voting. Now that punch is gone. Hunter off the bench still would be a great boost, and you could play Wade in the starting lineup at the 3 and then, still go with that. But anyways, it'll be a lot of fun. But, of course, it's all going to matter about the playoffs this season. We can get to those predictions later on in the podcast. As far as their win total for the season, they are projected to be the number one seed in the East. 56.5 wins, number one in the East, second in the NBA behind the Thunder. What do you guys think about 56.5 wins, over or under with the Cavs?
I marked a range of 55 to 57, so I'm going to look at the under 56.5. I think we're going to come in at 55, 56. I think we're going to experiment a lot. I don't think we want to grind out Mitchell early in the season. I think it's a great time to get some of these younger guys some minutes. I like a 55, 56 win, so I'm going with the under.
Nick, how about you?
I would go slightly under as well. I think they're going to have a rough start with Strus and Garland out and have some stuff to figure out. They're going to be playing guys like we just talked about, Tyson, Merrill, Proctor, and they're not going to dominate and get 64 wins again. So I like 55, 56 as well.
Ben?
Maybe even 54.
Ooh. Ben, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with the slightly under, I think, because fortunately for Garland injury now, the Strus injury, I think they'll be testing some things out, and I think we could still get through the regular season, looking like a pretty good team, but and get a good seed, but obviously gotta be cautious with the injury things and stuff.
Yeah, that's part of what made last year so frustrating because they navigated the regular season perfectly with injuries, and then it all went downhill in the second round against the Pacers.
And the year
how about
before
you?
that was opposite, where they had Donovan out for a while, and Garland was out. They were both out.
Right. But Joey, what do you think?
I think you guys are forgetting that we are in the Eastern Conference, and there's like maybe one or two other teams outside the Cavs that are like legit contenders. So I am hammering the over, and we're going 60 wins again.
I
think it's like at 60.
I like it.
I think it's at 60, and not to go because this is the first Eastern Conference division we're going, but I think there may be another 60-win team in the Eastern Conference.
Ooh. Oh, I like it. I
think the Cavs aren't the only one.
That could just be like last year because the Celtics also won 60 games. I would agree with the over. I mean, again, they are still in the East. And even with the injuries, they're still going to be playing superstar Donovan Mitchell, potential superstar Evan Mobley, all-star Jared Allen, and the best bench scorer in the league in DeAndre Hunter with great role players around them. It's a good formula for a weaker Eastern Conference because they'll still get a lot of wins, I think. So, but again, doesn't matter really what they do in the regular season. All about the playoffs and staying healthy. But let's move on here to the reigning Eastern Conference champion who knocked out a couple of these Central Division teams, the Cavs and the Bucks we'll get to later. The Indiana Pacers, who last season, after getting off to a bit of a rough start, one of the best teams in the league the second half of the year, 50 wins, fourth in the East, and they made it all the way to Game 7 of the NBA Finals before losing to the Thunder after Tyrese Halliburton's magical playoff run ended with an Achilles injury that will have him out for the entire season. And then following that in the offseason, they lose Miles Turner to the Milwaukee Bucks. And that's really the main offseason loss right there. They acquired some centers to try to hold down the spot. They re-signed Isaiah Jackson, Tony Bradley. They got Jay Huff from Memphis. But another key is that the day before Game 7 of the Finals, they reacquired their own first-round pick from the New Orleans Pelicans. So they do have their own draft pick. Here is the Pacers team heading into the season. Of course, Halliburton out for the entirety of it. Nick, let's start with you. I guess where do you want to start off with the Pacers? Of course, a different outlook heading into this season after their magical playoff run last year.
Well, I think the Pacers have options going into the year. Like, because they traded back for their pick, that was huge, and like they can be bad and still benefit from it. Which is a big key because you don't want to be bad and not benefit from it. If you're going to be bad, you want to benefit from it and get a high pick, and they have that option this year. But I also think that their depth and experience is going to be undersold going into the year because of the fact that they just came off a finals run, and Ben Math, talking about like high level guys who can score off the bench, like Ben Math is going to be in the starting rotation this year. And I think their depth and experience is going to lead them to be a little bit better than a lot of people think. I still got them around 500 or so.
All right, Joey, what do you think about the Pacers and I guess sort of their off season?
Their off season kind of sucks. I feel bad just because they've lost two incredible pieces of their huge finals run, and Halliburton obviously, and then Miles Turner was a big staple in that Pacers team for almost like a decade now. But yeah, no, I tend to agree with Nick though. Like they can be bad, and I think that's probably the option I would choose just because I don't know, you have such a good young talented team that you should really take advantage of this opportunity. However, they still have quality guys, and especially in this weaker Eastern Conference, I'm with Nick. They could definitely hover around 500 and possibly get into that play-in spot. Like I would not be shocked at that at all.
Yeah, Uncle Joe, that seems to be the question here because, again, the Pacers have their own first-round pick, so they have the ability to, like Nick said, benefit if they are bad. But they're the Pacers, and even in these situations, they're still always competitive. There usually isn't a time where they're bad. So what do you think the Pacers are going to end up doing here? Do you think they still want to be competitive?
I think they're still going to try to make the playoff run. It's too valuable to some of their younger guys. I mean, Nick's right. I mean, they got a big depth. I think it's really going to, I've got them at 42, 43 wins. I got them just above 500. I got them coming in 9-10 in the East.
Surprised you think the 9th and 10th seeds are going to have that good of records in the East.
Yeah,
I agree.
You'd be surprised. I think it's going to change this, but I don't know if it gets to 8 because I think it's just going to be really, really tight. I think you're going to have a lot of teams in the 40 to 44 win mark because the East is what it is. I think you'll have a little more parity. I think the teams that are really down low are going to, win a little. And I don't think there's, although Joey thinks there's another 60-win team out there. But I think, how Ben Shepherd plays coming off the bench. I mean, he's going to have to step up. But the big difference is, I mean, Naismith and Nembhard really got a lot of experience, right? And so they'll play with more confidence, but they're not Halliburton. I think it was Naismith that went off in one of the playoff games, but Halliburton was the guy that converted. And it's really going to come down to, can their center by committee between Jackson and Huff
and Wiseman? They're getting Wiseman back.
And Bradley, yep.
Yeah, I mean, if that's not serviceable, they're going to get destroyed because, I mean, Toppin, you're going to get a good quality out of Toppin. Siakam's going to be there. And, but Furphy or Shepherd, I mean, that's a great look there. You're going to get what you're going to get out of McConnell and Toppin. I'll take them as my 7th, 8th guy all day of the week. They're great off the bench.
Yeah.
But we were talking about the Cavs being weak as backup front court. These guys are weak on the front. They don't even have a 1 and 2 to start. So I think that's really, really going to hurt them come the playoffs. But I think they have enough of a competitive servant, and they've got a great coach. I mean, he gets the most out of his rosters, no matter what roster he's had. Even when he's had terrible rosters in the past, he's always gotten to 500. He's always been in that clutch race. I mean, I had them coming in 8, 9, 10. We'll see what happens.
I've said it plenty on this podcast how much of a Carlisle fan I am. I'm a big
I do. By the way, though, I do have them 4th in the Central. Out of 5.
Could be about right. Ben, talking about this center by committee thing, obviously with losing Miles Turner, definitely rough. I mean, Isaiah Jackson's a good energy guy, but he missed basically the whole season with the Achilles injury. Jay Huff was good in minimal minutes, but even like Tony Bradley, I still can't believe he was getting minutes in the NBA Finals after being out of the league for like 2-3 years. It was incredible. So what do you think about the idea? I've thought about this in my mind. Of course, having all these, centers there, none of them really starting caliber. What about the potential of Pascal Siakam playing the 5 with Obi Toppin starting at the 4? Because in Toronto, Nick Nurse played Siakam at the 5 a decent amount when they played kind of a similar style of basketball as they do with Indiana. What do you think about that possibility to still have just a good 5 players out on the floor?
I think I like that possibility to, at least start the season, especially with that center rotation, because like you guys have said, it's pretty questionable that center rotation they got. Definitely hurt losing Miles Turner too, free agency, and if I were Carlisle, I would put Siakam at the 5 sometimes. I think he's gonna have to sometimes to try and get things to work. What I think, and I'm thinking, I mean, who knows? Maybe the Pacers will eventually acquire some center that's starting caliber. Maybe, you never know. And I think the Pacers are going to be competitive this year. They surprised us last year and Rick Carlisle, I think, is one of the best coaches in basketball right now, and the Pacers want to be competitive still this year, and I think they'll be a decent team, competitive but not great. But I'm thinking they'll finish playing range somewhere around there by the end of the year. So yeah, I don't think it'll be too bad for the Pacers without Halliburton, and this will definitely be a good year for some of their younger guys and other guys to get more time, I guess.
Yeah,
Well,
Jarris
dude,
Walker will get more minutes. That's one of Nick's guys. I did want to say, Andrew Nembhard, of course, has been a huge playoff riser, and a lot of those moments, I even go back to the 2024 conference finals against Boston when Halliburton got injured and Nembhard went crazy as the point guard as those two games. With him having the ball as the lead point guard there for the Pacers, any chances of him having a crazy breakout season? Like, what do you guys think about the potential of him becoming, like, I don't know, the leader of the system, but he's someone that kind of perfectly epitomizes the Pacers system, the full court defense, big time shot maker and clutch moments. I feel like he's someone that could be a low key candidate to make, a jump.
Most improved
player in the weak East. If the Pacers are competitive, maybe he somehow sneaks into an all-star spot. Like, I feel like there's a lot of things that Nembhard could do this year as the lead guy.
You think he can come out on average like 20 and 8?
I feel like it could be in play, like a 19-7. I feel like that could be in play.
I mean, there's going to be a lot of shots on Indiana's offense, and the thing about putting Siakam at 5 is like Carlisle he's not going to be shy about doing that. I mean, no. he just played Tony Bradley in the finals, like you just said.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's definitely going to be some experimenting. I'm excited to see how it plays out. As far as their over/under goes, sounds like a lot of you guys are going to go with the over here. 37.5 wins is what the Pacers are projected to win, which is 10th in the Eastern Conference. A lot of overs here. Yeah, I would probably agree. I would probably just go a little slightly over, though, because I mean, in the long run, I'm not sure how valuable it is that the Pacers are that good this season. I think it's more valuable that the younger guys get the opportunity with the ball in their hands more so than them really winning games. But should be a fun year for the Pacers. They're going to be a team that's going to steal some wins from some good teams, just like they did in the playoffs. So it should be fun to see how it plays out.
Miles, how tall is Pascal Siakam?
Want to say he's 6'10", 6'8", 6'9".
I think there's a team that won quite a few championships with a 6'8", 6'9" center named Draymond Green.
He was compared to him.
He played a small ball and played the. So to your point, that might become to fruition, especially if some of these other guys step up, and they can fill a couple slots from the other spot.
Yeah, question is can he play the 5 full time as a starter? Or will that wear him out as the season goes along? But Nick, what were you going to say? Then we'll move on.
If Hallie was healthy, would they still be top 3?
Yeah.
They'd still have the questions about the 5, though. I mean, that is something that is important to know, because then even if they start Siakam and he gets injured, I mean, They are at a disadvantage with the bigs against every other team in this division and arguably across the whole league.
Yeah.
So, then it makes it difficult. But would Turner have left if Halliburton didn't get injured? There's so many different questions. But let's move on here to another team that could be in the middle of the Eastern Conference yet again, the Chicago Bulls, who last season were once again mid 39-43, 9th in the East. They lost to the Heat in the play-in game for the 3rd straight season. So continue to be in the middle of things in the offseason. Really, the only notable moves is they drafted Noah Essengay at 12, and then they traded Lonzo Ball to the Cavs to get Isaac Okoro. So here's their team. I guess, what do we want to talk about with the Bulls? Ben, you get us started.
Well, they look just like a mid-okay roster once again. I mean, man, I wonder if things really going to change with this team. I don't get how they somehow still have Nikola Vucevic on their team. I mean, if I were their GM, he would probably be gone by now. But yeah, it's interesting. The Bulls are kind of a hard team to figure out, but yeah, I'm guessing they're eventually gonna move on from Vucevic this year. They might have to release him or something, but I am excited, for the guard play. Kobe White and Josh Giddey, they look pretty fun to watch at the end of last year. Be nice to see them grow their games, and should be fun to watch this year, I would guess. And think the core, could provide some solid defense for them. I don't know, maybe they'll have more opportunities to shoot and they'll find a way to get that shot better finally on the Bulls. I don't know. And still got Patrick Williams there. He's solid. And Isaac Okoro at the wing over there is interesting. So, yeah, I think the Bulls are just going to be like they were before. I mean, nothing's changed too much with them.
Yeah, I mean, things got better. I mean, they started winning in the second half of the season after they traded Levine, and they realized with their positioning in the East, they were like, all right, we might as well just try to be in the play-in tournament. So then they played a fast pace. Josh Giddey was really good. Should note, he has not re-signed with the Bulls yet. They haven't picked up his QO either yet. He's one of many restricted free agents that are still out there on the market. But assuming he's back with the Bulls, that is their team. Uncle Joe, what are your kind of thoughts on the Chicago Bulls roster? I mean, it's kind of tough. I mean, Ben kind of laid it all out there. It's kind of a mid roster yet again.
I mean, Ben hit the nail. I mean, they've got 8 to 10 good players. They just don't have any great players, right? And, Vucevic is a good scorer, but, defensively he's average, right? So this is a competitive team, but they don't have enough to get in the top half of the thing. And even though the East is weak, they're not the worst roster in the world, but they just have a bunch of very good players and nothing special. Kobe White shocked me a lot last year. Really, really developed. Maybe Buzelis has that opportunity as well to get better. Vucevic is who he is. They have some, good young players. You guys can correct me on the pronunciation of Ao Duasimo.
Ao Duasimo.
There you go. I mean, that kid's an athlete, man. He's quick as all get out. Watched him play several times. I think Ben made a great point. They are fun to watch, but they don't have the scoring down the stretch in games, right? They're going to play a lot of competitive games, and they're going to lose a lot of games by 4 and 6 points all year.
I think the most exciting part about the Bulls season this year is going to be watching guys who potentially get traded to competitive teams later in the year.
I feel like we've been saying that now for the last 30 years, though, with DeRozan, Levine, and Vucevic, like Ben said, is somehow still around.
Well, no, it's incredible because Vucevic last year, I mean, he had a very good year. I mean, 18 and 10, 40% from three. It's mind-blowing that he couldn't get sent to a new team, but now he's on the final year of his deal, and it may end up that he does have to get bought out. I mean, I'm still surprised. I thought for sure this offseason that we would see some sort of transaction where it would be a Jonathan Kuminga sign-and trade to the Bulls where Vucevic would go to the Warriors, because that would be such a great fit for Golden State. But as it appears, doesn't look like that's going to happen. I feel like there's not really a whole lot to add with this team besides
Noah Senge.
Noah Senge
was the 12th pick in this year's draft. Him and Buzelis, who was last year's 11th pick, are the two most important guys, I think, that to watch for this year. I mean, Kobe White has been on fire, and Giddey is a question mark, but Buzelis and Senge are the 11th and 12th pick of the last 2 years. So,
if they have any hope of getting out of this mid kind of just twilight zone that they're stuck in, it, like Nick said, it's Buzelis and their new guy Asenye that has to take the stride and the step forward if they want to get out of it. Because
I mean, Buzelis is a 6'10", like 2 guard, and then you got this kid from France, Noah Senge, who plays 3, but can guard 1 through 5 and can shoot. So two interesting guys on the roster. Two most interesting. That's the word I was looking for. Not
Yeah.
bored, but two most interesting.
Nick, since you're a Pacers and you know all these young guys, if it wasn't for having to trade inside the division, wouldn't Vukovic fill a big void for Indiana?
Yep,
Yeah.
it would.
And without them signing Miles Turner, I think they got the cap space. The problem is most teams can't afford the number for what he gives you. He's 18-10, which is solid, but they don't need the defensive presence in the middle because they're so good at guarding the perimeter. So his lack of shot blocking is not a problem. But his rebounds, he's a solid rebounder. He's a solid center. You know what I mean? Nothing wrong with Vuk at all. He's a good player. But where the Bulls are at, and what you said, Nick, they need more young players. And they should seriously think about, trying to get to something. But where is the point, right? Miles, why hasn't he been traded yet? By the way, Pascal Siakam is 6'8".
6'8", yeah. So 6'8", 5. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Indiana would be a great spot. I mean, yeah, we'll just see what happens.
But teams don't usually trade inside the division. That's pretty rare.
It's very rare.
No,
but we did it with Isaac Okoro and Alonzo Ball, so you never know.
And Miles Turner went to a division rival, which we will get to next. But before we get to the Milwaukee Bucks, the over-under for the Bulls, the projected win total is 31.5 wins. And I'm going over because they're always mid. So
I was going to say, I'm hammering the over because they're going to at least be 40.
I don't know about 40, but I got 36 maybe, 35, 36, 37 at the most.
What's their number, 33?
31.5.
Oh,
31.
over.
Yeah. Ben?
Yeah, I'm hammering that over.
No, I don't even think their roster is that good. If it was any other roster than the Bulls, I'd be hammering the under. But
I was about to say, if this team was in the West, this is a bottom 3 team in the West.
Yeah, no question. Moving on here, the Milwaukee Bucks, a very up and down, really calendar last couple of years there for Milwaukee. Last year, they ended up going 48-34, fifth in the East. They lose to the Pacers in round 1 in 5 games. Damian Lillard tears his Achilles. They end up stretching out his contract in the biggest buyout in league history for the remaining now 5 years, $113 million that they're going to be owing Damian Lillard. And they stretched
Bobby
it out.
Bonilla.
Yeah. So they stretched him out so they could sign Miles Turner from the Pacers for 4 years, $108 million. And they signed Gary Harris, Cole Anthony, and Amir Coffey.
And Thanasis
Antetokounmpo.
How could you leave him off?
He is back on the roster. That did just happen. So that's why he's not on here. But yes, that did happen, which does ensure that Giannis is staying with the Milwaukee Bucks this season after a whole offseason of speculating if he's going elsewhere. He's staying with the Bucks. So this is the Bucks team. Joey, where do you want to start off with the Milwaukee Bucks? And I guess what were your thoughts on their offseason? Because just very unique in how they handle things.
It's very unfortunate, the Dame situation, and it leaves a very big it's just not good. It sucks is what it was, because that duo, I know we didn't like Dame in Milwaukee, at least I didn't, but him and Giannis played so well together. I really wish it would have worked out. However, with them going into this season with no Dame, their guard play, who knows what's going to happen. That's the biggest, it's huge that they got Miles Turner. Their front court is going to be great. But that backcourt, just who's going to step up? There's a lot of guys there that has potential, that has Porter Jr., Anthony, and Gary Harris, some vets there too, Gary Trent, but nobody really going to give you that 20 and 6 or 20 and 8 that you need.
Even 15.
Even 15, 10.
Someone's going to have to perform for this team. Nick, you're one of your guys, Miles Turner, now on this Milwaukee Bucks team, a love and hate relationship for Coach Cove and Miles Turner. How do you think he's going to fit with this Bucks team now, having to literally be their second best player? He's clearly their second best player after Giannis. How do you think that fit is with him in the Bucks?
Well, he's a better version of Brook Lopez. We've said that on here.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
So I think he'll get a lot of open shots with Giannis driving to the hole, and they'll swing the ball to him on the perimeter, and consistently be able to knock those down. And I think that's going to be a good recipe for success. What I'm interested to see is how those two get along, clogging the paint up on the other end. Like, how does that look? Are they able to sort of, keep teams from getting paint touches and allow Giannis to maybe guard guys on the perimeter more so than he has been in the past? Because Miles Turner is much more, I mean, it's a love-hate thing with him, but he's much more mobile than Brook Lopez was, and he's definitely a more impactful rim protector than Brook Lopez was. So I think that is going to be an interesting sort of dynamic. But with the Bucks, I don't know. I feel like I'm a little bit higher on them than most. I think Giannis is still going to lead them to, a really strong start. I feel like that happens almost every year, except they had a really bad start last year.
Yeah.
But I mean, Dame was there, and they had a new head coach. Adrian Griffin got fired halfway through the year. So Doc going into his second year, going into his 26th season in the league, by the way, Doc Rivers. But I think they're gonna have a strong start, and I think they're gonna be able to carry it a little bit. I'm a little bit higher on the Bucks than most, I think.
Interesting. All right, Ben, with this Bucks team, of course, we know Giannis is going to do his thing. He's going to have to do an insane carry job with this team. And we just talked about Miles Turner. Who are some other guys on this Bucks team that you are going to pay a close eye on here that need to step up in order for them to be competitive?
Well, one guy is Gary Trent Jr. I remember him having some good games last year, but he could be even more consistent at some good games. Knock down open catch and shoot jump shots from like 3-point range or something. I mean,
when he catches them
for them, I mean that could take some stress off of Giannis if Gary Trent Jr. could step up and do that. Multiple different guys that backcourt, what you guys mentioned before. You got Kevin Porter Jr., who he did look improved last year. I'm curious to see how he can do coming up this year. He started his career on the Cavs, of course. But yeah, gonna need some scoring out of that backcourt, that's for sure. And I worry about their defense too with the backcourt. None of those guys are great defenders. And I like the Miles Turner addition. I said that in the offseason. And I think he can, fit in well with Giannis there in the front court. I think, Turner could be a good complement on defense to Giannis, and then do things like Brook Lopez on the offensive end, with Giannis. So I like that. And then, they got Kyle Kuzma on their team. Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
Disappointment with them so far. Maybe he can step it up, but it's getting hard for me to believe in him right now.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I mean, Kyle Kuzma realistically should be around their second or third clearly best player. Last year was just horrendous, regardless of with Milwaukee or Washington. It was just bad the whole way through. We're gonna have to see if that was just a fluke bad year, just an off year, or if that's gonna be something that the Bucks have to worry about going forward. Uncle Joe, of course, the Bucks definitely have an interesting team. Of course, they're loaded with Giannis and Turner in the front court. Then the whole rest of their roster is, question mark. So question for you, what do you think is going to be more important for the Bucks heading into the season with their perimeter guys? Their ability to knock down spot up 3-point shots, or their defense at the other end?
I think it's going to have to be the 3-pointers. The defense is going to be what it is, right? Milwaukee's never been, they've always had Giannis as the guy that was in the backdrop to create the defense. They need some consistent 3-point shooting to open up the court for Giannis in order for him to drive and get the ball and get some spacing, right? Now, Miles Turner, I think, is an improvement. Obviously, he stretches the court. My biggest thing is, the defense. Kevin Porter Jr. is an athlete. Gary Trent's an athlete. They just don't commit to the defense, right?
Correct.
They can absolutely do that. I think I kind of agree with Nick. I think they're going to do well because Giannis is so good. I think the wild card is Cole Anthony. I know they're projecting maybe Rollins to start. I don't even know if he's, what the final roster component is, but it'll be interesting. They need somebody to facilitate the ball because Gary Trent Jr. is not a point guard. Kevin Porter Jr. can play point, but you don't want him. He's not a facilitator. So they're going to need somebody to step up. They're going to need to work through something there. And it's just unfortunate they have the deadweight contract of Kuzma that nobody's going to take, right?
Yeah.
Well, Kuzma needs to step up. I mean, between AJ Green, Gary Trent, like those dudes are going to hit the perimeter shots. Miles Turner, those dudes are going to hit.
AJ Green can shoot.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Shoot.
Sniper.
Those dudes are going to be 40% three-point shooters. But like last year, Kuzma was 30, a career 33. Last year, I think Cole Anthony was down a couple percentage points too. Kevin Porter Jr. was down a couple percentage points just last year. So those guys, if they can rebound, and I mean, I think this team is going to get a ton of open threes.
Unless they do this, I mean, teams I think eventually will get smart and just play the strategy. Let Giannis do what he does. Don't let these shooters get involved. And
That's a good point.
Then what are they going to do? I mean, it's just going to be so difficult. I mean, the Bucks were successful in the final stretch of the regular season when Lillard was out, and it kind of was Giannis as the point forward with a whole lot of players to stretch the floor. In the final 11 games of the regular season, once Dame was out, he averaged 31 points, 11 rebounds, and 8.5 assists. And then in the 5-game Indiana series, averaged 33, 15, and 7. So this is still one of the most elite players in the world. We had him number 3 on our combined list, still one of the top players in the world. It's just that supporting cast. I mean, outside of Giannis and I guess Turner, I mean, this is one of the worst supporting casts in the entire league. So it's definitely going to be tricky. As far as their over-under, 42.5 wins for this Bucks team, which I think is a tough number for them. Nick, you were high on them, but you're going under?
Yeah, I'm going under. I'm not that high on them. I don't know. I think Ogun Joe was right when he said there's going to be a lot of teams around 40 to 44 wins. This is another one of them, but this is one of them that I could see things going wrong and having there's more risk involved. So I would lean under.
Joey, how about you?
I'll go slightly over this. The way we're talking about it and the way it's just looking, this is highly reminiscent of the LeBron olden days with the Cavs, where LeBron or Giannis in this case is just an unbelievable superstar, one of the best in the league, but the rest of them are just kind of meh or solid role players. So who knows? The regular season could be really good, but come playoff time and down the stretch, it's might get a little rough.
I mean, even the difference with that, though, I mean, you guys know those old Cavs teams, at least those surrounding role players were known for their defense. Like Larry Hughes was on the perimeter still. I mean, they had Delonte effort. Dude. Yeah, I mean, at least they had guys that could defend. There are not any real defenders on this Bucks team.
Yeah, that's true.
Uncle Joe, what do you think about 42.5 wins for the Bucks?
I got the over. I got them around 43, 44 wins. I got them at 3rd in the Central, slightly above Indiana.
See, I'm higher in Indy than Milwaukee.
What's that? But see,
I'm higher in Indy than Milwaukee.
Well, I just think that Giannis is so dominant, right? And that he can make the role players. And how many times LeBron carried, to Joey's point, such an average roster. They've got scoring. I'm really not, and that's the interesting thing. Losing Dame was tough. I mean, Dame's point guard and facilitation is underrated. He doesn't get enough credit for how, even though he scores a lot of points and shoots, he does make other players around him better. That's my biggest concern with their guard play, who could make them better. But I think that they will make a move mid-season because Giannis will get them off to a decent start, Nick, and I think they'll make a move. So barring an injury and every team has injury concerns, right? You lose your big nut, it changes the whole perspective. But assuming Giannis stays healthy, there are some things that are good here. I agree with you 100%, Miles. Their biggest problem is defense. Guess what? When Dame Lillard was his team, they were still a big problem defensively. So they've had no defense for a while outside of Giannis. He just makes up for their mistakes. So I like it. I mean, the reason I had Indiana at 42 wins and these guys at 43, 44 wins is because they're just going to sit there and battle, right? and they're going to beat up on a couple of the other teams, and they're going to win a game or two against the big boys just because Giannis will go off for 40 or 50, and it'll be what it'll be because he's still a beast out there. That's it. That's all I got for those guys. But I got him third in the Central.
All right, Ben, how about you? What over under 42.5 wins?
I'm going to have to give the slightly over. I think the Bucks will kind of be in that like playing range around where the Pacers are. I think Giannis will be able to carry them past those are really good teams. Just that good. He was actually my number 2 player on my top 50 list. I think he's incredible, and actually it's kind of underrated, but people still think he's a superstar like I do. And the Bucks possibly get off to a strong start of the year, but I don't know. They're an interesting team still.
Yeah, for me, I'm definitely an under on this team. I just don't. I feel like we're at the point now, the Eastern Conference, even though teams may not be super talented, top heavy wise. Besides this Bucks team, the
competitive rosters.
Competitive rosters. Just again, the supporting cast is just such a big question mark with this team. I honestly got them getting mid-30s in wins. I don't think that. I think it's going to be tough for them to make a plan. And if Giannis can carry them to making the playoffs, like as a lock, if he could get this team to top 6, he needs to be in the running for MVP again at one of the top places, because honestly, I do not like the roster at all. I do not like it at all. So that's my thoughts on the Bucks. Let's move on to our final team in the Central Division, the Detroit Pistons.
Detroit basketball.
And it was back last season, getting back to the playoffs for the first time in a good 6 seasons, their first playoff win in 17 years, taking the Knicks to 6 games in round 1. They won 44 games last year, 6 in the Eastern Conference. And this offseason, they made some moves with their wing depth. They signed Caris LeVert for 2 years, $29 million. He goes back to Michigan. So does Duncan Robinson for 3 years, $48 million. They also signed Javonte Green. Those are the moves they made this offseason. They signed Duncan Robinson to replace Malik Beasley after that whole investigation occurred at the start of the offseason. So overall, pretty solid offseason, I think. Uncle Joe, what did you think about what the Pistons did?
I thought the Pistons did a great job. They filled the gap they knew they were going to have with Malik Beasley, which he's now been acquitted from his thing. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up. I don't see him going back there, because why would you have picked up Duncan Robinson and Caris LeVert, even though Beasley is probably a better shooter than both of them? You've got enough depth. I think the Pistons are in great shape. I think a big key is Jaden Ivey, right? Because as long as Cunningham stays healthy, we can say that about everybody, right? If he needs some days off for that, Ivy can play point, I believe. And then you've got depth, a lot of depth at 2. And I think the real wild card with this team is, and you guys talked about it in all your top lists about Amen Thompson, but his twin brother Oscar's got to step up. He's had flashes. I don't know if he's not as dedicated or working as hard, because in college they were almost identical. Not just identical twins, but they play very similar. He's got the athletic ability. And to me, if he can fill that hole at 3 and just have some consistency, this team's tough, because they got 2 guys in the middle, right, who are physical, and I think they're going to give Cleveland and the East a lot to handle this year. They almost took down New York in the playoffs. And, I'm strong on this team. I think they hit their 50 wins this year.
Ooh, like the early prediction.
I got them right at 50. And I think they're super strong. And I think Cade Cunningham is, quickly becoming a top 10 player. He's very, very close. You didn't have him yet. I'm just outside it on your previous podcast, but he's knocking on the door.
That is for sure. Joey, what about you? What are your thoughts on Detroit basketball and their keys to the season?
I love it, and I agree. I think Asar Thompson and Jaden Ivey are really the X factors. We know the trajectory Cade is on. Him linking up with JB Bickerstaff this past season, it was just beautiful to watch them this year. And Jaden Ivey, when he comes back as healthy this year, I think it's just going to be a Batman Robin situation with him and Cade. I'm very excited to watch that backcourt. I'm not gonna lie. As much as I love watching the Cavs backcourt and Darius Garland and Mitchell, and it's so fun, it's kind of gonna give me the same kind of inkling and feeling when watching Detroit this year. But Ausar Thompson, his defense, I think this year is where he makes that leap. Maybe not the biggest leap like Amen did, but I think this is where he'll make it like, hey, I'm just as good a defender, or I am as athletic. I am just as good a defender. I can score, but his shooting and scoring needs to get better. Once that happens, I think he's kind of on the same trajectory as Ahmed now, where he can kind of go wherever he wants.
Yeah, Nick, you got any questions about this Pistons team or things they're going to be watching for?
Yeah, it's a good way to phrase. Ivy is a big question mark. I don't know what he's going to look like when he comes back. Had a great start to the year last year in only his second season. This will be his third.
Or this will be fourth. This will be
fourth. Okay. Yeah, he's still young and just haven't really got a lot of opportunities to see him play. I really like their offseason additions, like you guys said, but I think Duren and Cade are the keys to this team. They're the most interesting and important guys, and if I have any questions about them, which I don't really right now off the top of my head, like they're both pretty solid in their roles and what you can expect from them, which is why like we're talking so highly about the Pistons.
Yeah, for sure. Ben, what did you think about the moves they made this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, didn't totally know what was going on with Malik Beasley, so, I still think it was good they ended up getting Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert, and Karis LeVert and JB Bickerstaff, they can work well together. We saw that in Cleveland. Karis LeVert brings a good toughness out there, brings a good aggressiveness to the basket off the bench. And Duncan Robinson could fit right in as a pretty good catch shooter on the Pistons, and we've seen him be a great shooter before on the Miami Heat. I think he fits great on that team, and I really hope Jaden Ivey can stay healthy this year. It's a bummer before seeing him suffer some bad injuries, but it would be huge if Ivey could stay healthy this year. I mean, that just gives teams on defense another good scoring threat that the Pistons have that they're going to have to worry about, and it wouldn't be an easy backcourt to stop Cunningham and then having Ivy to, compliment him in times as long as they both stay healthy. I'm excited for that, and Sword Thompson, I believe, can take a leap. I think he's a pretty good defender now, but it's just, he's not very good offensively, but I believe he can hopefully take a little jump there. They got Ron Holland, too. He's kind of like the Sword Thompson. I mean, such a good defense out of it last year, but it's like, the same things he's got to improve on offensively as, a Sword Thompson. And I like the big tough guys in the middle down low with center, Duren and Stewart. I like that. That fits GB Bickerstaff's great tough identity he has going for them. And I believe Jalen Duren's in for a big year. I think he's underrated now. I think he could have a pretty good year, give some teams trouble, in the painted area. And yeah, but Pistons are going to be pretty good.
Yeah, going to be the first time in a while where they are going to have some legit expectations to do some good things in the Eastern Conference. And I definitely agree with what you guys said. I love the offseason additions, but I definitely do still have questions. I mean, Jaden Ivey, I think, is a question, still a young guy and did play well in just 30 games last year. But he shot it really well compared to his previous 2 seasons in the league. I mean, he shot at 41% from three in the 30 games last year. before he just shot 34% the first 2 years of his career. So we got to see where he's actually going to be at. We got to see if he can actually be a real contributor to winning basketball, because we only got 30 games of it last season. And overall, I mean, when you take a look at their offseason that they made, of course, they bring in LeVert and Robinson, lose Beasley, and Tim Hardaway, who goes to Denver. 2 great three-point shooters out the door who were huge for this team's, ascension. I think they were super important to Cade Cunningham's growth. And you lose 2 great shooters to bring in one, and one has kind of been a liability at different times as well. So if there are any questions I have, it is kind of the three-point shooting with this team, because everyone on the Pistons roster besides Duncan Robinson can kind of be sporadic from three-point range. And if that's not going down, I mean, they're going to have to rely on their defense, but it's just going to make them a lot easier to guard if they're not able to knock down the threes.
Yeah, I 100% agree. The roster's vastly different from when they had Hardaway and Beasley on there last year.
Yeah, Miles, that's a great point. I mean, their three-point shooting is probably their weakest component compared to many other teams in the division and even in the East. And Duncan Robinson, I mean, say what you want about Tim Hardaway. He's clutch in the playoffs, got a lot of experience, and he does play reasonable defense, right? I think Karis LeVert can play some defense, so that's good. But Duncan Robinson's a liability on defense. That's why he's never broken through, Malik Beasley could play a little D too. I mean, he wasn't a great defender, but he wasn't a terrible defender. So I think they lost 3 points because Karis LeVert's a scorer, not a three-point shooter. So he gives you a scoring punch off the bench, but he doesn't hit the three. And I'll tell you what, Ben, you were right on point, though, about Jalen Duren. I think he might become the X factor. I mean, the guy was almost 12 points and 10-plus rebounds a game, and he's 21 years old. I mean, remember we were talking about Mobley at 21? This guy's he could go up a level this year, just like Cade made the jump last year. Jalen Duren goes up, and now you got Cade and Duren, which was Ben's point. I think he was right on it. But, Miles, I agree. Their weakest point's three-point shooting because Duncan Robinson gives you a little bit of spark off the bench, but he's not consistent. You can't have him down there in the clutch, right, and because of his defensive liability. So he doesn't play down the stretch in the last 5 minutes, right? So who's your three-point shooter down the stretch?
Right.
Tobias Harris.
Yeah, it's your Tobias Harris's of the world, who was good in the playoffs, but, had our off regular season. But he could jump back up and provide scoring. Cade's, of course, a good three-point shooter, but you want him setting other guys up. I think the LeVert signing was just really good as far as, like, if Cade or Ivy go down, you have someone that can play the similar style of basketball, just plug and play, and can play really any sort of role. We saw that with the Cavs. I was super impressed with his time with Cleveland because he was able to play really any role that J.B. Bickerstaff asked him to play. So definitely happy that, he's back there. And definitely an intriguing roster. Verdict's still up on the air to me as whether or not they actually did get better this offseason following a big jump. But I still think a very good team. As far as their win total prediction, 45.5 wins, which is 5th in the Eastern Conference. Though he's hammering the over.
Yep, hammer the over.
What was their win total last year?
44 wins.
So they got them 1 game higher?
Yes.
I think they're better than 1 game higher just based on the development of Duren, Cade, and getting Ivy back. I think you're right about the questions about the additions making them better. But I do think there's something to say about, like you mentioned, Karis and Duncan are both going back to Michigan. I think there's something to say about that, like feeling home and playing well there.
Agreed.
Yeah, they'll definitely have that identity about them. I mean, defensively and just that Michigan spirit, of course. Ben, you mentioned those big guys with Duren and Stewart and even Thompson. I mean, there are a lot of guys that are not afraid to get in your face, sometimes to a detriment, and we'll see if that comes up at all this season as well. For me, I've got them as an over as well. This should definitely be a team that is thinking home court in the East. They definitely need to at least be going for home court advantage in the Eastern Conference. Will they get there? We'll see, but I definitely think that they could be a top 4 team in the East.
I do too. I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right
Well, that
around
is
that 4 or 5 mark again. I agree.
Yeah, right around the 4 or 5 mark in the East. But that is it for the Central Division. Lots of fun here on this episode. Again, Uncle Joe, thank you so much for hopping on. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me, guys. Hope I
First
come
ever
back again.
guest. It only took 151 episodes, but we finally did
There
it.
you go.
We finally got him back on. Well, the rest of you guys, you have anything else before we get out of here?
Don't think so.
No, sir.
Have a great day. Go Cavs.
That's right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.